Hi there. Are we watching the quiet moment before the next altcoin breakout? Today we're going to look at 5 altcoins that the whales are probably, rail into it already, just paving way for the next breakout to come. If you're new to my sessions, these are the key items that I'll go through during the session. So we will first look at the weekly chart of these 5 coins through the Wyckoff lens, and we'll go also into the daily chart to see whether there are additional signals from the price actions. So the first one is ICP. Here we are going through the paper hands, diamond hands testing period previously, and then there was a very quick distribution that ended also abruptly within the past 6 weeks. As of now, it looks to me that, based on the volume as well as the candlesticks, we are getting very close to the selling climax. However, during this stage, where the panic is seemingly over, it may not be the lowest point of the accumulation cycle. So look at what happened just a couple of months back. From the selling climax to the lowest point before that quick distribution. The lowest point was at 2.84, while the selling climax closed at around 4.5. So there's almost like $1.7 difference. As of now, looking at the candlesticks in the weekly time frame, we are still waiting for the selling climax to show up. All right, because last week, even though the price spread wasn't very large, and also the volume has come down, there was clear rejection from the challenge towards the 4.52 red key level. Currently, the bulls and bears within this week are fighting around the bottom edge of the long-term playground zone. It's an area that tracks the trading range of ICP since May 2022. Alright, so 70-80% of the time, ICP was trading within this area. And we are just slightly lower than the bottom of it. So previously, during the spring in October, it tested all the way to the purple line, especially in the week of October 10th, to around $2. Alright, so while we don't hope that to return, because supposedly there aren't any bad news coming out unless, the finishing of quantitative tightening is because of something in the system, in the financial system, that's about to break, and those news come out, then we would see something like what happened on October 10th. Okay, let's hope that's not the case, right? And when we get to the daily chart, here, we are also looking at when the selling climax is about to come. Currently, the price is still trading within this downward channel that we extended from the downtrend since July. All right, it just dipped below the center line, for the very first time since November. The current trend, okay, initially, if it trades sideways on the upper half, meaning the stronger side of the channel, it's pointing towards early January for a big breakout opportunity. Of course, the breakout can, all of a sudden happen if there's crazy good news coming out, but that's not the case as of now. The sentiments are still, not very optimistic. If it travels to the south, meaning trade at the weaker side of this air hockey table or the downtrend, then eventually it will come to test this red dashed line that I covered in the weekly time frame just now. So if that happens, that means, if I extend this box further, that's getting into very late in, well, it's still early for 2006, but pretty late as a breakout. So I'm extending the center line as well. So essentially, it's pointing towards March next year. if it really comes down to test the red and doesn't, go back up to the white, because then that will act as resistance. Okay, so let's hope that it's going to bounce, even if it's going to come down to challenge the bottom of the channel. It comes quick enough by the end of the year, so eventually during early mid-Jan it can break above and start at least show us sign of strength. If we look at the weekly, the sign of strength level that we would like to see ICP challenge is above the 5.82 orange key level. Alright, I know it's a boring period as of this moment because, like I said, the big guys are still doing this paper hands, diamond hands shakeout as of this moment. So that's for ICP. Now let's get to SUI. SUI slightly more optimistic than ICP because of the two white candles. However, it's just slightly. Reason being, this week the bulls and the bears have been fighting around this 1.50 key level, and we see this candle, basically the two wicks on the two sides. The bulls have been trying to push the price up to challenge the 2.35 yellow key level. The bears, however, tries to push the price downwards, and it's something that's common in the preliminary support stage. So it combines panic sell plus the whales getting in. So it's normal that we see this kind of horizontal or sideways trading where there is obviously quite a bit of selling combined with quite a bit of buying. So when we look at here what happened in 2024, there's a mix of red and white until it reaches the point of the selling climax where the selling is finally kind of flattened out. There obviously will be subsequent tests that may go lower than the selling climax, but that's pretty much around or very close to where the bottom is. As of now, it looks to me it's not the case yet because the volume is still relatively high. Alright, if it's selling climax, the volume should have come down. Okay, that's the big picture for SUI. And when we get to the daily, it seemingly have edged outside of the downtrend. However, if this is the case, okay, assuming that it has really gone outside, I hope that something like December 2nd will continue to happen, but right now it's not the case. So on Wednesday, when the price tried to break above this dash line, 1.72 roughly, it's extended from the spring as well as this period. It got rejected, okay, yesterday and today. Today even worse, because yesterday there was still a bit of buying, and today it's basically pushing the price back to the orange key level of around $1.5 with quite a bit of volume as well. Alright, so it seems like there are still some paper hands around that they're trying to get out when the price got just a little higher. Okay, they might have bought the dip during the panic sell period, and then the price went lower, and now that the price gone up, and they're going to cash out just to wait for the safer days before getting in again. But then that's where the whales are going to scoop up all the remaining stocks. Alright, so this may be a sign of strength if we are tagging these correctly. Remember, if you're new to my sessions, that Wyckoff method isn't designed for such a frequent time frame. It's designed for time frame more close to the weekly that we have looked at. So these ones are more experimental. It's based on the community, the XCN community request, that let's try to put it onto a low level time frame and see what happens and whether we can do that. So that's where we are. So if these are exactly the accumulation cycle in the daily, obviously we will expect more tests to come, and whether a spring appear or not, it's not a must. Okay, it happened back in here, it dipped quickly and climbed back quickly. Now that we are going through another accumulation right in the daily, let's hope this sideways trend continues without too big of a dip towards the 1.0 red key level. If we look at the weekly again, there is a chance, unfortunately, if this is not the selling climax. Like I said, the volume is still a little bit high. If it is the selling climax, it should be somewhere around what we had back in early September. Okay, that's the scenario for SUI. Early accumulation, expect more tests to come. We're not even at the stage of the where is that tag? It is gone. So what I'm trying to get is like, let's grab it from the other chart. I was trying to say, SUI seems having gone into the paper hands, diamond hands test yet. That period, every single accumulation has gone through. Okay, now let's move on to the third one, Chainlink. Chainlink, again, similar to SUI. Look how similar it is, right? A couple of red candles, and then, this one and this one looks almost exactly the same. Okay? 4 red, and then 2 short white candles, and today's one is like with a short body and 2 wicks on both sides. Very, very similar. So without repeating too much, basically it's still at this point. Well, I won't say the panic may be over. We don't know yet. If with a bad news come out, who knows what's going to happen? Something like the October 10th. But that's what we hope for. Okay, we hope it's not too far from the panic over stage, where the paper hands, diamond hands test comes in. Okay, there will still be fluctuation, and it may be around this level of $11. Just that another sign that I have shared before is this yellow ascending low trend line. Since May 2023, the bulls are still able to defend it. That's very interesting. If the trading continues along this trend line, when the price edges towards this red key level of $13.10, which points to May 2026, I hope we don't have to wait that long for this accumulation to get over, okay? If, however, it does come down, that's going to be an interesting test, because either it breaks below this trend line, so whatever that's been built up since May 2023 is over. Yeah, obviously this line from October 10th kind of indicated that it may be the case. We don't hope that dream to break that quickly, because there's some interesting phenomenon here that while the buying climaxes or the upthrust of the distribution is getting lower, the lows seems to be getting higher. So it's kind of like a split as of this moment. So in the end, let's see which one will win. Will we get a higher high than the downtrend, or will we get a lower low than the uptrend? Okay, that's something that's unique for Chainlink. And let's remove this one. That's duplicated now. Actually not. That's something we're waiting for. Okay. So let's get to the daily for Chainlink. Still, it's trading within the downtrend. However, it has, after the October 2nd, it has climbed above the red key level of $13.12 and also the center line of the downtrend channel box or the air hockey table. So the positive thinking of this is that while there's quite a bit of buying volume, 2 days ago, and we have two red candles coming down to challenge the red key level again, the volume of today and yesterday isn't really as high as what we had 2 days ago on December 3rd. So that's, I would say, a relieving sign as of this moment. So we were asking the question that in the daily time frame, if that was the selling climax back in November 21st, and we have gone through the automatic rally 1 week later, and these set kind of the the ceiling of the sideways trading trend supposedly. However, it doesn't finish there. After the second test, remember all these are question marks because this is more experimental in the daily time frame. That sign of strength comes in pretty quickly. Okay, not saying the sign of strength appears means the end of accumulation, but at least it's a good sign that there are people willing to buy in at that point. And now the price comes down with slightly lower than half of the volume that when it climbed. What we hope to see is something like what we had in the last 4 trading days of November. Very short price spread, low volume for red days, okay, and high volume for white days. If this continues at this level, higher than the red key level, that's a positive sign pointing towards end of the year, somewhere December 29th, 30th, that eventually the price may break outside of this downtrend. Combining what we see in the weekly is something that's possible. That means Chainlink is having a pretty short accumulation period. Not common because accumulation typically lasts longer than that. Even this short one during summer 2024, from the preliminary support all the way to the price first shot up, it took 3 months. And we are only 1 month in for this cycle. But when we get to year end, that's 2 months already. So it's still a possibility for Chainlink to break out by that point. However, we all know that these kind of tests isn't going to be over sometimes that soon. And it can go test lower levels than the selling climax itself, so meaning breaking below this yellow dash line of $11.60. If that happens, the next level of support would be $8.33. This was where the October 10th tested. Of course, you would argue, hey, there should be an intermediate level there at around $10. Yes, you're right. Depending on what kind of bad news came out, or the sentiments further goes down, this yellow dash line, the second one at around $10.15, it's the first support after the one that I mentioned, $11.60. Then eventually it will get to challenge the 8.3 at a pessimistic scenario. Let's hope that's not the case, because if the price continues to trade on the stronger side of this downtrend, there are multiple occasions near the year end, the mid of January, and eventually the 3rd week of January that it can break out. Alright, so that's Chainlink. Now let's get to Litecoin. For Litecoin, over here, this now looks a little bit different from SUI and Chainlink. And it basically just came down from the previous distribution and entered preliminary support stage, meaning the panic sell while whales buying period. Okay, you see the selling plus the buying this week especially. So my view remains same. It's still heading towards the selling climax, which we are potentially going to see even lower volume and lower price spread. And then, okay, what's going to happen after the selling climax, meaning the panic over? Obviously, there will be subsequent shakeout, meaning the test of paper hands and diamond hands. But before that, there would be the automatic rally. So that may push the price back to challenge the orange key level of $79 if it really comes down to test the red 62 key level before it bounces up. Alright, sometimes it will stop in between the red and the orange, like what happened back in April this year. Okay, the price came down. The next week, before it went up, it tested the red line, the red key level, before it bounces off for an automatic rally and a subsequent distribution. This time, it all depends on where it ended. October 10th kind of reached the similar level as the selling climax in April, so that's of a higher possibility. Of course, what happened back in summer 2024 is having its reference value as well. Right, that's the big picture. While the price seems to still kind of coming down gradually, and back to the daily here. If this was really the selling climax, which I think it may not be, it looks to me it's still like the extension of the preliminary support period. So the selling climax isn't there yet. It won't be a surprise, because looking at what had happened here, even though there was a bit of buying on December 1st, the orange key level of $78 isn't that strong, $78, $79. And there seemingly is a chance for this to come down to challenge the bottom of the downward channel at around mid $60. And that may well be where the selling climax is going to land. The subsequent test may get lower to challenge the red key level, like I already said. So there's no particular breakout time point that the price actions are immediately indicating to us, even though we know there are possibilities of these two, one leaning around January 20th if the price successfully climbs back to here. However, it looks to me it's more likely this would be the case when we get closer to mid-late March. Okay, but I mentioned many times that the breakout can happen sooner if some good news are being sold to the market. For the time being, let's hope we'll see the selling climax soon, both the weekly and daily time frame, and then expect a little bit of sideways trading before the price climbs again. Last time, during April, just this year, to June, that was pretty quick, from the selling climax to the automatic rally, back down to a second test, and then immediately to the distribution. That period was only about 3 months, and we're probably about to start that. So that's Litecoin. And finally, last but not least, XCN. So when we look at Onyxcoin, where it is now, look kind of similar to Litecoin, alright? Okay, but just that it has gone a little bit deeper, alright? The selling climax again, when we look at this, the volume kept declining, so Onyxcoin may be entering the selling climax, or it's going to reveal the selling climax pretty soon while we're waiting for the automatic rally to happen. So again, I haven't plugged in the text for Onyxcoin. Let's do it now so you can get a better feel of what that really means. Okay, we've got these over here. So the preliminary support stage is where people panic sell, and while the whales try to get in, a bit by bit, not pushing the price up. Okay, and then eventually, the panic is over. That's the selling climax, and the automatic rally is going to define the accumulation cycle trading range top. Of course, the sign of strength is going to challenge that top and may sometime go currently Onyxcoin or XCN is diamond hands test to come within this accumulation cycle. All right, so it's not like, oh, when they get to the cycle top, that's over. Sometimes it could be a very quick test, but look at what happened over here after the selling climax, the second test, and then it came down for another test before it climbed to a sign of strength. All right, and then there were subsequent tests, a pretty long period during the 2004 April to 2004 October. So that's almost half a year time for Onyxcoin. All right, the last point of support or backup period, it's probably where whales plug in their very last buy before the price climbs. Okay, so I'm trying just to plug in these tags so you get to know, what are the exact actions over there during those Wyckoff stages. Sign of strength is what we hope to see after the automatic rally and selling climax appeared. That's where the volume and price both climb. Okay, doesn't mean it won't come down for further tests, but at least it's a sign that it may be a period for dollar cost averaging, even though it may come back down. All right, now I'll get to the daily of Onyxcoin. Here, the downtrend still continues. The good news, or the optimistic side to look at this, is that the price or the candlesticks are on the stronger side of this downtrend or the air hockey table. So it's bouncing off along the center line of the table, but then you see it's finding support not only along this line. Currently it's still staying above this yellow dash line of 0.0046. That's where the selling climax was just a week or two back. And if we look to the left, there's some candlesticks that we can take reference from 2003 to 2004, even though that's pretty far apart. So the hope is for this to stay above this yellow dash line while this second test has appeared. Obviously best if it continues to trade sideways along this defined trading range by the automatic rally and selling climax. When it edges towards mid-January, that's the first opportunity to break out. However, if there are deeper tests, either is the third yellow dash line at around 0.0038 or all the way to the red key level of 0.003. The dates are still within January. One within the third week, the third one near the end of January or the beginning of February. So these three breakout opportunities will happen, assuming the price continues to trade along the stronger side of the channel. And after second test, obviously, we hope to see sign of strength, but that's probably not always the case, and the whales will try to shake people out, giving everybody more tests. Are you diamond hands or are you paper hands? Give up the test and look at what happened over here before they push the price up again. Okay, when they shake enough, and most of the paper hands are gone, then that's the time they're gonna push it up. that's the period we are hoping to see. Alright, we're still early for XCN as of this moment, but being early doesn't mean it cannot finish quick, and that's what we wish for. Alright, so that's the new format sessions today, and I'll continue to try to streamline and improve so I can cover more coins in future. Thanks for your support.